Hello race fans, I'm Justin with NRN, and today I want to look back at one of the most grueling championship battles in NASCAR, the 2004 Ford 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway. This is a great championship fight, and one that many of the teams involved felt like would never end, so let's put that car in reverse and take a drive down memory lane. It had been a long season that began in Daytona. 9 months later, NASCAR roared into Homestead for championship weekend, and 5 drivers were locked in what was the closest championship battle in series history. 2004 was the first year NASCAR had used a 10-race playoff system, and it hadn't disappointed. Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon all had a shot at winning the title, and they were going to have 400 miles to get the job done. Going into the race, Kurt Busch had an 18-point lead over Jimmy Johnson and would be starting from the pole. But what was also exciting about this championship battle was that 4 of the 5 contenders had never won a championship. Jeff Gordon was the only one who had a champion's experience, as he did his Drive for 5. Dale Jr. was obviously the fan favorite, and the sentimental favorite was Mark Martin, who at 45 years of age had still never won a championship. Jimmy Johnson was the youngest of the contenders and only his 3rd year of Cup racing, and he would be starting from way back in the pack in 39th. The green flag waves and the championship battle begins, but not quite, because lap 1, turn 1, Mike Bliss and Hermie Sadler make contact. With the field frozen because of the caution, Kurt Busch picks up an easy 5 bonus points for leading a lap. They try to start the race again on lap 5 and Kurt Busch gets underway, but on lap 6 his teammate Greg Biffle takes the lead, and then a huge crash in turn 1 again brings out the caution. These professional stock car drivers try to start the race for a 3rd time, and the green flag waves on lap 10 with Biffle still in the lead. Jeff Gordon shows his strength early and takes 2nd away from Busch. Jimmy Johnson was making his way through the field but desperately needed a caution to bunch everything up. Well, the 48 car would get his wish on lap 48 when the caution would wave for debris on the track. The caution brings everyone to the pits. Kurt Busch would win the battle and beat Jeff Gordon off of pit road to get back in front of him. Lap 53, the race gets back underway with Biffle still in the lead and championship leader Kurt Busch in 2nd with Gordon 3rd. On lap 72, Busch radios his crew and tells them that his right front tire is feeling strange. Meanwhile, on lap 85, Johnson has finally made it into the top 10 and is still working his way towards the front, picking up more points with every position he gains. His teammate, though, is going the opposite direction as the handling on that race car goes away. Gordon sacrifices a position to Kevin Harvick. At this point in the race, Busch is leading Gordon by 41 points. Johnson is up to 3rd, 47 points behind, while Jr. and Martin are tied for 4th, 123 points behind. But then, big problems for championship leader Kurt Busch. He hits the pits when he feels a vibration in the right front, and then suddenly the whole wheel comes off the car. Busch drives his 3-wheeler down the pit lane and the team puts on a tire and sends him back out. He's able to stay on the lead lap, but how much damage did he do to the car, grinding it across the surface of the track? All of the leaders come to pit road for service, and now the teammates of Gordon and Johnson need critical stops as the championship race starts to come to them. Kurt Busch is on pit road again, and his crew looks to see if there's any damage to that car. The race restarts with Busch in 28th, and with 169 laps remaining, the points now have Gordon in the lead, 11 points over Johnson and 55 points over Busch, who has fallen to 3rd. Jeff Gordon begins to make up ground, knowing his 5th championship is within his grasp. Lap 113, Jeremy Mayfield puts his Dodge on the wall because of a blown right front, and the caution comes out again. Even though they've only run a little over 20 laps on the tires, all of the leaders hit pit road. With all of the tire issues teams are having, the field is growing nervous. Championship contenders and teammates Gordon and Johnson race one another off of pit road, while Kurt Busch's troubles continue with a disastrous stop that again finds him at the back of the pack. A few raindrops begin to fall from the floor to sky, so the field remains under caution. But under caution, trouble for another championship contender, This time it's Jeff Gordon who has to come to pit road for a flat left rear tire. Gordon comes in for a new tire, and while he does, Busch comes in to top off his fuel and take another look at that damage to the right side of the car. Gordon and Busch now run together in 23rd and 24th places. The problem is, though, because of the rain, laps are clicking off under caution, which means less time for Busch and Gordon to race. As the race gets ready to restart, Johnson is now the point leader, 48 points over Kurt Busch in second and 77 points over Jeff Gordon. Finally, the race gets underway again on lap 132, with Ryan Newman now showing the way. Back in the pack, Gordon and Busch race one another hard. Busch gets loose, and Gordon gets around him as the championship continues to slip through Busch's fingers. Battle for the lead with 121 laps to go. Biffle's 4 tires overtakes Newman's old tires, and the 16 goes back to the lead. 1 lap later, Mike Bliss would crash for the second time in the race, bringing out the caution again. Once again, the leaders are on pit road. Gordon and Busch have a very close battle out of the pits, with Busch coming out just ahead. Some pit strategy finds Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick at the front of the field, having taken fuel only. Bobby Labonte would take only 2 tires to get him up to third. The race resumes on lap 152 with Stewart in the lead, but then Elliott Sadler spins and the caution comes out again on lap 158. The race restarts with 107 laps to go, and then another crash between Casey Kane and Travis Kvapil. In fact, championship contender Dale Jr. got in the back of Kvapil as the two were slowing to avoid Kane. That damage to Jr.'s nose creates a little more downforce to the front of the car and starts to affect that car's handling. At the restart, Johnson is still the leader of the championship, but Busch is slowly gaining ground and is only 6 points short now. Gordon remains in third, 26 points behind. The race resumes yet again with 96 laps to go. Stewart leads them to the green, but then is shown the black flag for weaving his car right before the restart. But then the caution comes out for the 9th time for debris. The caution comes out before Stewart serves his penalty, so he leads them all to pit road. Gordon tries some strategy by staying out to get him back towards the front. Kurt Busch pits again and tells the crew that he's feeling that weird sensation again that he felt right before that right front tire came off. With Jeff Gordon staying out that last stop, he is now leading the championship, 36 points over teammate Jimmy Johnson and 43 points over Kurt Busch. The fight continues with 90 to go. Battle for the lead. Newman takes the lead from Labonte and Rocket Man set sail. Further back, Casey Mears puts his target dodge into the wall, but continues on with no caution. But the very next lap, while Mears is trying to get to pit road, he runs all over Jeff Burton, and that brings out the caution with 77 laps to go. All of the leaders come in, but Mark Martin makes a play and stays out to gain 5 points. Most of the teams take 4 tires, and Johnson beats Gordon and Dale Jr. off of pit road. Kurt Busch again has a bad stop and finds himself at the back once again. After the stops and with Martin in the lead, Johnson is once again the championship leader. 1 point over Busch, 6 points over Gordon, and 9 points over Martin. Dale Jr. is 60 points back and is slowly sliding out of the fight. Mark Martin restarts the race with 72 laps remaining in the 2004 season. Further back, the teammates Gordon and Johnson race for 10th place on the track and the lead of the championship. Gordon uses Ken Schrader as a pick and takes the spot from Johnson as Gordon drives for 5. But the racing is interrupted again when the caution flag waves for the millionth time for debris on the front stretch. Martin brings some of the leaders to pit road, but Gordon and Johnson and Busch stay out of the track. With Martin coming in to take fuel, he could make it to the end of the race without needing to stop. Now Jack Roush and Jimmy Finning begin to second guess themselves about leaving Busch on the track. Realizing Martin's strategy, the championship leaders come down pit road to top off fuel, change tires, and make final adjustments to run to the end. The championship leaders come off of pit road running together and ready to settle it on the track. After those stops, Busch has finally made it back as the point leader, 14 points over Johnson and 18 points over Gordon, 61 points over Martin. With 60 laps to go, Rusty Wallace leads them to the green. The championship contenders give it everything they've got. Gordon and Johnson race one another, trying to gain spots over Busch, while Busch keeps the two Hendrick teammates right there in his sights. The Hendrick teammates Johnson and Gordon put on a heck of a show as they race each other for a championship. Behind that battle, Busch is struggling to get by cars and makes contact with Michael Waltrip. But up front, a race for the lead begins between Rusty Wallace and Greg Biffle. But then the caution flag would wave when Jeff Green's engine would go up in a plume of smoke. Rusty brings the leaders to pit road, but for the championship runners, it's monkey see, monkey do. Gordon stays on the track, so Johnson, Martin, and Busch stay out as well. But then heartbreak for the number 6 of Mark Martin, who is forced to pit when his left rear tire goes flat. His championship hopes won't last more than 4 hours. Just trying to work in a Viagra joke where I could. Since losing a wheel and a slew of bad pit stops, Kurt Busch was back in the top 10 and was currently the champion, 5 points over Gordon and 15 points over Johnson. The race had been a hard one on all the teams up to this point. Not one of the contenders had had an easy afternoon. With 36 laps to go, whoever was able to win this championship was going to have earned it today. Newman leads them to the green with Tony Stewart in second, who had fought his way all the way back from that penalty early in the race. Kurt Busch rides in ninth behind Johnson, but up front, Gordon is running fourth. Gordon just has to pass one car to get the lead of the points. Up front, Tony Stewart battles with Newman to get the lead of the race. Stewart gets the lead, but Newman comes back on him as the two continue to race as hard as they can. Stewart reclaims the lead and tries to pull away. While they race, Gordon begins to catch third, that position that he really needs. Further back, Johnson gains spots, but Busch stays right behind him. As Busch tries to pick up 7th from Harvick, up front Newman retakes the lead of the race from Stewart. Busch gets around Harvick and now carries a 12-point lead over Gordon and a 19-point lead over Johnson. But with 15 laps to go, Martin Truex Jr. blows a tire and the caution waves yet again. The race is going to restart with 10 to go, and for Gordon to win the championship, he's going to have to win this race. And that's what he tries to do when the race goes green. Gordon drives like a crazy man, dashing for the front, almost crashing a lap down car of Inarek Nemechek. Newman leads and begins to pull a gap out over Stewart. Kurt's teammate Greg Biffle takes the position from both Johnson and Gordon. Now Gordon and Johnson see Busch behind them, which is not good for their championship hopes. But if this race hasn't been crazy enough, the leader of the race, Ryan Newman, blows a tire and slams the wall, bringing out the caution with 3 laps to go. The 2004 season is going to end with a green-white checker finish, with Busch holding a 16-point lead over Gordon and 18 points over Johnson. Right before the restart, Dale Jarrett and the UPS Ford runs out of gas, giving Gordon third, who again needs to win the race to win the championship. The green flag waves for the last time in 2004, and Biffle makes a great move to take the lead of the race right in front of the championship contenders. Greg Biffle holds on to win the Ford 400, and in an amazing rally from behind, Kurt Busch wins the 2004 championship, and it was a great finish to the year for Roush Racing, who would take the win and the championship. And the Ford 400 would see 2 Fords victorious at the finish. Ford first on race day, right? I don't think I can recall a race that was as up and down as that one for a champion. For the 97 team, that race felt like it would never end. Kurt Busch had overcome so much, from losing a wheel off of the car to several mistakes on pit road, to battle back to finish 5th, proving why that team were champions. The final standings would have Busch winning the championship, just 8 points over Johnson and 16 points over Gordon. Of course, Jimmy Johnson may have lost the day, but he would go on to win 7 championships, and for the next few years, no one would ever have a chance. Side note, that gold Sharpie car is also one of my all-time favorite paint schemes, and I have a die cast of that car sitting on my mantle. Not that that's of anyone's interest, I just thought I would share that. Anyway, if you have a favorite race you would like to see on the show, drop a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more NRN. I'm Justin, and thanks for watching.